Let's jump right in. We are literally living through an absolute boom in online learning right now. Whether you're, I don't know, picking up a new coding language, finishing a degree, or just clicking through corporate training, digital learning platforms are quite literally everywhere. But have you ever actually stopped to think about what it takes to build one of these platforms from the ground up? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into the massive, unseen systems that make digital learning possible. To really get a grasp on this, let's think about it like building a massive digital skyscraper. You can't just slap some bricks together and hope for the best, right? You need a serious blueprint. Speaking of blueprints, here's ours for today. We'll start with the digital learning boom, move into architecting for scale, look at engaging through gamification, and then explore the gamification dark side. After that, we'll tackle the data privacy paradox and wrap it all up with building an ethical ecosystem. Section 1, the digital learning boom. Moving right along, Section 2, architecting for scale. Okay, so before we even start worrying about how pretty the interior of our digital building is, we absolutely have to pour a foundation that won't crack under pressure, which brings up this incredibly vital question. How do you build a school that holds 1 million students, but still somehow feels personal? Because look, if a system grows way too fast without a rock-solid base, things get messy fast. Pages start to lag, streams completely fail, and inevitably frustrated learners just drop out. Scalability has to be incredibly intentional from the start. To actually achieve that kind of massive scale, you need load-bearing pillars. The core elements really come down to 3 things: cloud infrastructure, automation, and modular content. Basically, cloud infrastructure is what allows your servers to automatically expand when a huge spike of traffic hits. Automation puts all those heavy enrollment and support workflows on autopilot so you don't hit massive bottlenecks. And modular content? That just means you can update one individual lesson without breaking the whole entire site, which completely saves you from drowning in technical debt down the road. But honestly, here is the absolute best part about all of this. All of this cold, hard, behind-the-scenes technology actually serves a deeply human purpose. Kari Brooks, the CEO of Team Treehouse, really hit the nail on the head. She noted, "We focus on project-based learning because building something real creates confidence." And that's exactly why we architected this massive structure in the first place, to support busy adult learners trying to balance real lives. A stable platform just means fewer frustrating dead ends and a much stronger foundation for them to build on. Which brings us to Section 3, engaging through gamification. All right, so our foundation is poured, the walls are up. Now, how do we actually keep the learners inside the building? Well, we use interior design, or, what the experts call structural gamification. To be clear, this means using game elements, things like points, badges, and leaderboards, to modify the learning environment, but doing it without altering the actual academic content itself. So you aren't turning a serious coding lecture into a literal video game, you're just wrapping game mechanics around it. And interestingly enough, research points out that this is actually the most frequent strategy used to boost motivation. Researchers actually break these game elements down into 5 really distinct dimensions to craft highly targeted interactions. We're looking at performance, ecological, social, personal, and fictional dimensions. So, for example, performance would include something like a progress bar, whereas social is all about competition. And designers use these dimensions exactly like interior design tools, specifically to evoke very specific emotional states from the learner. It's totally by design. And when you dig into the data on this, it's pretty wild. The social dimensions are overwhelmingly the most popular. Specifically, competition and cooperation are utilized with the highest frequency by far. Designers know for a fact that if you implement just a little bit of healthy competition, like, say, a simple leaderboard, or if you require people to cooperate to solve a complex problem, those are incredibly powerful tools to keep students fully engaged and stop them from dropping out. But wait, there's a catch. Section 4, the gamification dark side. Yeah, here is the great paradox of our whole design. The exact same tools that are meant to boost engagement can actually completely destroy it. On the positive side, sure, you get increased engagement, noticeable performance improvements, and teamwork, all the great stuff. But look at the negative effects: performance loss, detrimental motivation, undesirable behavior, and just straight-up indifference. When gamification is poorly planned out, or if the rules are confusing, students literally lose their drive. That fun, engaging interior design suddenly turns into this incredibly annoying digital escape room that they are just desperate to get out of. Which leads us to Section 5, the data privacy paradox. Let's think about our skyscraper's security system for a second. You have millions of users clicking, interacting, and cooperating. Well, that generates a massive amount of personal data. And as UNESCO guidelines clearly point out, this use of data in education is a massive double-edged sword. On one hand, it's brilliant. We can see exactly where a student is struggling and instantly personalize their content. But on the flip side, this immense accumulation of data really threatens human privacy, and it can actually lead to a seriously dangerous concentration of power. Because of that huge vulnerability, strict safeguards are absolutely non-negotiable here. We have to prevent misuse that can harm learners or even shift political power. It's this super delicate balance between embracing technological transformation and protecting basic individual human rights. The source material makes a really strong argument. If a platform is constantly tracking exactly how fast you learn or what topics you stumble on, that highly sensitive data requires rigorous protection from any kind of breach or unauthorized commercial exploitation. Finally, let's bring it all together in Section 6, Building an Ethical Ecosystem. All right, it's time for the final key handover. To make this entire thing work, scale, gamification, and privacy all have to form one unified ecosystem. It really breaks down into 3 mandatory steps. Step 1, privacy by design. Data protection has to be baked directly into the blueprint from day 1. Step 2, digital literacy. We need to empower learners to actually understand their own data. And step 3, ethical AI integration, prioritizing human well-being over just sheer technological capability. Listen, these protections cannot just be bolted onto the outside of our skyscraper after it's built. They have to be welded right into the steel framework. Which leaves us with this final, provocative question to think about. Are we building platforms just to track metrics or to truly advance human progress? Because as we construct these massive digital learning skyscrapers, we really need to remember that the ultimate goal isn't just to hand out virtual badges, right? The true purpose is to safely empower humans to reach their absolute full potential. Well, I hope this explainer gave you a whole new perspective on the platforms you're using every single day. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep learning.